Hello, Internet. I am Pastor Recoil, and welcome to my parish. Today is Palm and Passion Sunday, and we're going to talk about it. Welcome to Pastor Recoil's Parish, where I talk about some things in the Bible that you may not have heard about in church, either because it's not quite appropriate for all audiences, or it just isn't easy to talk about in a sermon. Today's reading for Palm Sunday is Luke 19, 28 through 40, and the readings for Passion Sunday are Isaiah 50, 4 through 9a, Psalm 31, 9 through 16, Philippians 2, 5 through 11, and Luke 22 and 23. This is a bit of an odd Sunday, as the first half of the worship service celebrates Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. But the second half focuses on his passion, the events surrounding his betrayal, suffering, death, and burial. That's why the name for today seems a bit smashed together, and why there's an extra reading. Today begins in celebration, as Jesus is honored as the Son of David, the King who comes in the name of the Lord. At least one of those, depending on the gospel account we're reading. This is a big deal, as Jesus isn't just coming into Jerusalem as a teacher, but as a messianic king, someone who public perception says will fight and win against the Romans and free for God's people a kingdom of their own. That's why the Pharisees in the crowd try to get Jesus to calm everyone down a little bit. Too much attention might bring a strong reprisal from the Romans, and the current governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate, is known for strong reprisals, to the point that he had been given a warning from Rome about being too aggressive in putting down protests. And you know you're too brutal when the Roman Empire thinks you're too brutal. Meanwhile, Jesus, as much as he is doing what he's doing on purpose, isn't there to bring in an earthly kingdom. He's not there to fight Romans. He's there to die. And if you read what he does between entering Jerusalem on Sunday and Thursday evening when he celebrates the Passover, he's going to do quite a lot to make his death happen. He turns over tables, kicking merchants out of the temple. He answers questions in inflammatory ways. He tells parables against those with the power to kill him. And ultimately, those people in power convince one of his own disciples to betray him. So the readings then shift away from arriving as a king to, well, the logical consequences of arriving into the capital as a king when there's another empire in charge. Jesus being executed as a traitor and a rebel. In church, I read the entirety of whichever passion narrative it's the year of, in this case, Luke. We see how very quickly everything happens. Within really less than 24 hours, Jesus has been betrayed, arrested, tried, sentenced, executed, and buried. A lot has been made of that speed, but remember, Jesus had very publicly actually done many of the things that they accused him of doing. And so they had all the witnesses they needed to make his execution happen. Now, for a lot of people, that's the end of the story. A guy went out of his way to look like a rebel against Rome, and he was killed as one. Sure, he taught some good things like loving your neighbor and treating people well, but ultimately, that's all it was. Jesus lived, he taught, He died. End of story. Oddly enough, even for Christians, until next Sunday, that's also where the story at least pauses. Today means a bit more than just the death of a human, it means the death of God, but I'll talk more about that on Friday when we have our Good Friday video. For now, it's important to reflect on Jesus' death. And I think too many Christians skip over the cross and the death of Jesus, but it's not just part of the journey to the empty tomb. I'd argue that this is the whole point of what Jesus came to do. Essentially, it's what Philippians 2 is all about. The second person of the Trinity, the Son of the Father, set aside all that godness to become a human and die. That's the sort of humility that Jesus' followers are supposed to have. A humility that loves others, that does no harm to others, and seeks to act in ways that actually do good for those around us. And it's that humble love that we see out lived for us by Jesus on the cross. So if you want to see more content like this, check out the links to my right, or click the logo just below my face to subscribe so you'll know when my next video comes out. Thank you for watching, and take the time this week to love your neighbor as yourself, especially if you don't like them all that much.